the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call.
Chisel.
Aye. Here.
Bell Richard.
Here.
Carlson.
Here.
Luce.
Present.
Lohr.
Here.
Trustad is absent. Johnson.
Here. Also want to welcome Corey Hummel, Luther College rep, and pleased you could join us to at least keep us up to date on Luther College. Thank you. We have a motion for approval of the agenda.
So moved.
Moved by Lohr.
Second.
What's that big city? Bella Richard. Okay. Knocking into it. Roll call.
Lohr.
Aye.
Bell Richard.
Aye.
Carlson.
Aye.
Luce.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Chisel.
Aye.
Okay, the agenda has been approved. We'll move to the public comment section. Have a new officer, new police officer, Scott Jennings, and I think Chief Nixon will introduce him, and I think Wanda will give the oath of office, and maybe we can have a few words from Scott too after he is sworn in. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm happy to introduce you to Scott Jennings. Scott is our 13th officer, the officer position that you recently approved. We're very happy to have him with the department and his wife Chandra, who's also here. Scott comes to us with some police officer experience from Kansas and Maine, and they are both graduates of Luther College, so they have a connection to Decorah and are familiar with the community, and both are happy to be back in the area, and we're happy to have them. And if you have some questions for Scott, I'll let you ask those.
Hello.
Questions for Scott?
What was your major at Luther?
It's political science.
You decided not to become president.
Yeah, I learned in political science that I don't like politics.
Great. That's what education's all about. Are you from the Midwest as well? Or?
Yeah, I grew up in Johnston, so it's close enough.
Well, welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome. I welcome you, and
Very much.
Wanda, I guess we'll give the oath of office.
I, Scott Jennings,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Iowa,
and the Constitution of the State of Iowa,
and that I will faithfully and impartially,
to the best of my ability,
discharge all duties of police officer
in
in the city of Decorah, Iowa, as now and hereafter required by law.
Thank you, and welcome to the police force. We're glad to have you. Stephanie Fromm, you'd like to report on the Winnebago County development?
Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me? I can hear you. I'm Stephanie Fromm, Executive Director for Winnebago County Development. Here tonight, I'd just kind of like to give you a brief update on some of the accomplishments we've achieved in the last year. I'll make it short and sweet so you guys don't have to sit here all night. In the past year, we've had a really strong community and business focus. We've conducted approximately 52 business counseling sessions throughout the Winnebago County area. We visited with 30 potential new businesses, 33 real estate property owners seeking help to find businesses to fill their spaces, which all of you know of the concern of the Decorah area in downtown. I just want you to know that Winnebago County Development is trying to play a big hand in helping find businesses for the area. In the past year, there's been approximately 47 inquiries with Winnebago County Development from businesses looking for spaces. So I think that advocacy, like that that spot that we're trying to play, it was kind of, we didn't want to be the realtor, we didn't want to set rental rates, but we wanted to be that liaison for businesses wanting to keep things private, or building owners wanted to keep things private, that middleman, per se. And it's been working out really well. Wenatchee County Development, on behalf of Decorah Jobs, has also responded to 8 to 10 inquiries in the Decorah Business Park property. So hopefully we'll see some more generated interest in that area as well in the coming years. Some other projects that we've been part of. Just this past month or so, we've administered a RISE grant for the Kelmer Industrial Park. If you can recall, we administered a grant on behalf of the Decorah Business Park last fall, and we were awarded, so we should find out here within the next few weeks or so if we were awarded the grant for the Kelmer Industrial Park. That'll open up a pretty good chunk of their acreage out there, kind of helping develop that area a little bit more, bringing value-added businesses to their town and our county. Just recently, we've helped facilitate a STEAM Day in the Decorah Middle School, so it'll help kind of bridge that gap between local businesses and community leaders and educators to the students at the middle school. So it'll be for 5th through 8th grade. It's very similar to a STEM festival, but it's incorporating the arts as well. So kind of tying in the subjects that they're learning into careers that they can potentially bring back or get into in our area here in Wenatchee County. WCDI has also coordinated about 12 workshops throughout the county for small businesses, existing and new, that have gone off pretty well. We've partnered with other economic development organizations throughout the region, as well as Luther and NICC. And finally, our new website will be coming out this week, I think. We'll be launching. This has been a pretty extensive project that we've been working on this past year, and it'll really help focus in and be more user-friendly in finding, what services we provide, the area, the community. It helps highlight what each community offers and how they're different. And finally, I just want to, again, thank you for your contribution in the past, and hopefully we get to work together in the future. And on behalf of Decorah Jobs, I'd like to switch my hat here. I'd like to invite a council member to be a part of the Decorah Jobs Board, and the council or the mayor can appoint someone to that board if they are willing. But any questions?
Any questions for Stephanie?
What's the biggest challenge that you're finding right now trying to accomplish, some of your goals?
I'm a single person, so, trying to kind of find what that balance is, or kind of that task list, what's important, I guess, would be a challenge. But, it's something I'm passionate about, so it kind of doesn't come as work. It kind of comes as a challenge. I get it done, I feel good about myself, and I'm on to the next thing. So the STEM Festival, or the STEAM Day, has been really exciting because that'll be next Wednesday too. So I'll send an invitation out to everyone so that if they have time they can stop by, but it'll be from 9 a.m. to 2:30, and it'll run all day for 540 kids will be there. So
Anything else for Stephanie? My fifth grade grandson is already talking about STEM, so.
Oh, is he?
Yes.
Good. My husband hasn't been quiet about it either, so he's pretty excited about it too.
Okay, anything else for Stephanie? We do have approval for that towards the end of the agenda today. Thank
Stephanie,
you.
you're looking for one council appointment to Decorah Jobs?
Yeah, so I think so, Keith, right? Just one is what was passed. Just one council member, yep.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Other public comment, James Kaufman, you have some concerns?
Thank you.
And may I ask you to limit your discussion to?
Give me an approximate time, if you can.
3 to 4 minutes.
Okay. You can warn me when I'm coming close to the end. It's good to meet you. I'm pretty new to Decorah. I've been here just 1 year. I've had some email exchange, I think, with Councilmember Luce. I reside at 206 North Street. So I think my council member is actually Mr. Lohr.
Yes.
I'm here to talk about our soundscape, our sonic environment, noise issues. How our environment sounds is important for our health and our quality of life. I could talk for an hour about that, but I don't have that. But for example, look at the work of researchers Arlene Bronsaft, Lorraine Maxwell, Gary Evans, who found correlations between noise and children's cognitive development. It's been repeatedly found that children need a reasonably quiet environment for their to develop cognitively to their maximum potential. The two most urgent noise issues in Decorah, in my opinion, are loud car stereos and illegal exhaust systems. Both penetrate my home many times a day, and both types of noise are unnecessary and solvable. And the way that we can solve these problems, this very invasive and prevalent noise in Decorah, is through better enforcement of existing laws and better laws. In the short term, we need to work with what we have and insist that our law enforcement enforces the laws we have as best we can. In the long term, we need to look at more effective laws, more enforceable laws. Decorah's ordinance for amplified sound, and you can help me out here, but I've looked at the ordinance. The best I could find is under nuisances, a definition of nuisances prohibited. All unnecessary noises and annoying vibrations. Help me out if there's something more specific than that, but that's the most specific definition that I found in the ordinance. We can look at that, and we can do better. Regarding mufflers, I think Decorah's ordinance needs to be, at the very least, proofread. It reads, every motor vehicle shall be, and this is what I got from the website, every motor vehicle shall be at all times equipped with a muffler in good working order and in constant operation to prevent excessive or unusual noise and annoying smoke, comma, and no person shall use a muffler, cut out, and then another comma. No person shall use a muffler, comma, cut out, bypass, or similar device upon a motor vehicle on a highway. So that comma makes it seem like you're not supposed to use a muffler. So please look at that. Maybe it's something that got on the web page that isn't in the official document. But while you're looking at that, look at something bigger, and that is, we can define a muffler in good working order more specifically. Because the problem here is not that people don't put mufflers on their vehicles, it's the aftermarket mufflers that don't follow the specifications that were given to us from our federal government, which the vehicle is equipped with from the factory. So please listen to my possible improvement. A muffler in good working order in compliance with federally mandated specifications for the original factory muffler and in constant operation, etc. So that will help a lot if there's any doubt about what the proper muffler is. There shouldn't be with what we've got. We should be able to work with what we've got, but just to make it more clear and specific, we can define that better. As for car stereo ordinances, the best ordinances are ones that use an audibility standard Decibel standards that require cops to use decibel meters, not practical for moving vehicles at all. So if we look at specifying our car stereo law, it's got to be enforceable, it's got to be clear, and it's got to be constitutionally sound. Audibility standards, as I say, have proven to be the most practical. And the audibility of the sound should be the criteria. Let me give you an example of Cleveland's noise ordinance.
You've got about 1 minute left.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. No person shall play any radio, music player, or audio system in a motor vehicle at such volume as to disturb the quiet, comfort, or repose of other persons, or at a volume which is plainly audible to persons other than the occupants of said vehicle. Now, that ordinance may be able to be trimmed down. This bit about the repose and comfort might be, superfluous. But the great thing about that ordinance is the audibility standard. Plainly audible to persons other than the occupants of said vehicles. Now, audibility standards have passed muster. They've proven to be constitutional, all across the country. And I really think that that's a way to go. Some municipalities have audible at 25 feet or audible at 50 feet. Still, that's an audibility standard, and that's the way, I think that kind of a standard is the way to go for an effective, amplified, mobile sound ordinance. And I thank you very much for your time, and I look forward to further communication with you, my public servants. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
James, did you have a code reference number for the section that you read regarding mufflers?
For Cleveland? Or?
No, for Decorah, you read a...
Okay, yes, thank you, yeah, absolutely. That's 10.36.070.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I have a question for you.
Oh, yes.
Was the stereo, all your stereo noise coming from cars, or is there stationary stereos at home?
Predominantly cars.
Are
Predominantly.
they moving?
Moving or parked at the gas station. I live next door to the Casey's. And that's, I know you gotta go, one quick other thing to look at in the ordinance. You can hold not only the car owners or the car drivers responsible, but you can hold the property owners who allow that. So a gas station who doesn't take measures to make sure that they're being good neighbors is also responsible. They can be held responsible.
I think this ordinance has been talked about in previous years. I would think if council wants to revisit it, they'll have a committee that really wants to volunteer to look at it. We'll see if that
Well, I
comes about.
would love to be in communication. When I lived a long time in Rochester, New York, and founded a group called Rochester Soundscape Society, a group of citizens who were concerned about this issue. We had experts come, researchers on the topic. So I think it's great that you're considering looking at your ordinances, and I would love to be in communication with some representative
Sure.
or more,
Sure.
as you do.
Thank you for your opinion.
I have a question, Chief Nixon, what type of enforcement, are there many tickets written for these? Is it something that the law officers are looking for, or do you have any background information on that?
Typically, our response to this would be complaint-driven. Most often, when we respond to these kinds of complaints, it has moved on by the time we arrive in the area. Oftentimes, if there is loud music coming from a car, then we would find, to maybe be within, that range of unreasonableness, we'll ask them to turn it down, and people will comply with that. The difficulty is that noise is a very subjective thing. What is disturbing to me may not be disturbing to you.
That's why we need ordinances that are objective in that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Does council have any questions? Okay. Does anyone else like to address the council on an issue not on the agenda? Seeing none, we'll move to the consent agenda, which includes the minutes of the September 6th and 9th meetings. The claims, item C is renew Class E liquor license for Quillens, including Class B wine, Class C beer, and Sunday sales privileges. Item D is renew Class E liquor license for Decorah Mart, including Class B beer, wine, Class C beer, and Sunday sales privileges. Item E is consider C3 commercial design review for 306 West Water Street, Driftless Smoothie and Juice Bar. Item F is change order number 1, Old Stage Road Interceptor Project, $5,073.43. Item G is partial pay for retainage of Old Stage Road Interceptor Project of $13,665.55. Item H is resolution number 2761, accepting as complete the Old Stage Road Interceptor Project, total construction cost of $273,310.98. And item I is resolution number 2762, approving preliminary and final plat for Casper subdivision. Any questions about consent agenda?
Move for approval.
Moved by Shizzle for approval.
Second.
And second by Carlson. Roll call.
Chisholm.
Aye.
Carlson.
Aye.
Luce.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Lohr.
Aye.
Bell Richard.
Aye.
Consent agenda has been approved. We'll now move to item 6, which is conducting a public hearing for proposal to enter in a general obligation vehicle acquisition loan agreement in the amount not to exceed $900,000. This is in regard to the fire truck, and we have the public hearing open. Chad, any comments? And we'll see if there's any comments from the audience in the public hearing.
So just an overview, this is a required action when the city is proposing entering into general obligation bonds. In this particular case, it's for the acquisition of a vehicle, an aerial fire truck. The not to exceed amount is $900,000. That's really all there is to it. It's a pretty straightforward and simple process. We do have a bid from 2 local banks, Decorah Bank and Trust and Current Brothers Banks, have agreed to share the burden of the bonds at 1.5%.
Any public comment? Any public comment? Close the public portion of the meeting, and then we'll move to have the council consider resolution 2760, a resolution taking additional action on proposal to enter into this general obligation fire truck acquisition loan agreement.
I move that we accept the resolution.
Okay. Moved by Lohr and seconded by Luce. Now any questions? Roll call.
Lohr.
Aye.
Luce.
Aye.
Carlson.
Aye.
Bell Richard.
Aye.
Chisholm.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Okay, that's carried. Now we consider approval of the engaging letter with Dorsey and Whitney, this firm for the legal and bond services for this truck. I don't know if there's much explanation needed for that.
No, this maybe for some, this is something that's come along since the Frank Dodd Act from a couple years ago from the federal government level. Anytime the city engages in the use of a financial advisor, special bond counsel, et cetera, an engagement letter is required. Basically I think there's a copy of it in your packet, outlines the duties and responsibilities of bond counsel and duties and responsibilities of the city. John Danos with the Dorsey firm has proposed such the letter. Does need council action. He's noted bond and legal costs of not to exceed $6,000 for their services. Of course, there will be some other services and fees along the way.
How was the bond firm selected?
We've traditionally used Dorsey and Whitney for many, many years. It's council discretion as to which bond counsel you'd prefer to use. The city of Decorah has a long, rich tradition or history of using the Dorsey firm, and we've had great success with them. So.
I move that we accept the letter of
Okay,
engagement.
moved by Laura,
Second.
second by Carlson. Any other concerns? Roll call?
Lore?
Aye.
Carlson?
Aye.
Luce?
Aye.
Johnson?
Aye.
Chisel?
Aye.
Bell Richard?
Aye.
Okay, that's carried. Okay, we have the request from Winnebago County Development, which was actually put into the budget when we had budget hearing, or when we had budget discussion. Chad, just further comment on that, and it's per diem cost now, so how they came up with.
Right, so the Michigan County Development Board last November, when they submitted their letter of request, had changed their funding request. So it is a per capita amount, it's $1.50 per capita, and that provides them some stability in making their requests with other cities and organizations. So the request presented to you at budget time was $12,190. You did approve that as part of the budget. You also had directed staff to bring each of your nonprofit requestees to the council for discussion, update, and then final authorization that you would award the funds. And so it is a budgeted amount for you today.
We have approval for that?
I'd so move.
Okay, moved by Luce,
Second.
second by Bell Richard. Questions? Roll call?
Luce?
Aye.
Bell Richard?
Aye.
Chisel?
Aye.
Lore?
Aye.
Johnson?
Aye.
Carlson?
Aye.
Okay, that's carried. And when Stephanie talked to us, she said something about a representative to Decorah Jobs, and maybe we could have a little discussion on that, and then whoever is interested could either contact Chad or I, and we could approve that at the next meeting.
Is there a job description? What one does as a board?
We don't have like a set meeting schedule. We usually just meet as needed. This last year was pretty, we had a lot of meetings, we had a lot of stuff going on, but I mean, it's just kind of as needed. And we kind of just, we fluctuate our meeting times too. Typically we meet over lunchtime, and everyone seems to be okay with that, but if something else works better, just let us know.
I'll just make a comment. As a board, we decided with the funding that the city's...
Could you come up to the mic so we can make sure everybody hears?
Chris Redinas, I'm on the Winnebago County Development Board. And as a board, we felt it was important that we had some city representation because you guys have a big impact on our organization through funding. A lot of the projects that we're involved in require city assistance, whether it be logistics or what have you. We think it's important that a member of the council be present to reflect the council's opinions on things and help us move matters forward quickly. So we'd appreciate someone joining our board.
And I understand really the time period could really be up to the decision of the council. In other words, if you decide tonight, or suggest tonight it'd be 1 year, 2 year, whatever, we could go with something
And
like that.
it's not a large time commitment. We meet monthly, basically.
Yeah.
Or as needed as projects are undergoing that we are involved in.
Mayor, I'd be interested in serving if there are others too that certainly throw their hat in.
Stephanie, do you have defined terms of service on your board, or?
I probably, yeah, I can look at our bylaws and probably, you want me to, I can send it.
Yeah, typically a term is 3 years for our members, and then we have to vote on renewal.
Are you talking about development board members or
Jobs.
the court jobs?
This is
Court
for
jobs.
jobs.
This is just jobs.
But you spoke as a a member of the development, so I'm trying to understand the right hand and the left hand of
And
this.
she's our administrator for Decorah Jobs as well.
Yes.
Our organization helps contribute to that position to provide administrative support to our organization. So.
Thank you.
So I guess when we do decide next time who it's going to be, it sounds like it's a 3-year term. Yes. But if anybody else is interested, just let Chad or I know, and we can figure out how
We can be
to,
flexible too. If you only want to have a one-year term to share the job responsibilities, that's fine.
sure,
We're flexible.
sure, okay. We're not really taking any official action on that tonight. Was there any other comments in regard to court jobs? We'll move on to consider ordinance 1189, an ordinance amending chapter 12.20 of municipal code of the city by specifying sidewalk display regulations and locations of this city of Decorah, the second reading. And have we had any correspondence at all, or Chad, in regard to this? Or?
There was one email, which I think the council received. I hadn't seen it from a business in the 400 block, I think, Roxy Quilting, Red Roxy Quilting.
That was the bike rack.
That may have been more against the bike racks.
Yeah.
I haven't received any other comments.
Okay. Council's desire here. Should we move ahead?
I'll make a motion for approval of ordinance, the second reading of 1189.
Okay, motion by Carlson.
Second.
Pardon? So second by Lohr. Okay. Now, any other comments?
I'm anxious to go ahead and approve it at this point without the concern of the tables and the trees and how that impacts the ADA. What we're changing is so that it says any sidewalk 10 foot wide, it's changed to this, and it doesn't address the concerns that we need to be aware of the 5 foot allowance to make sure, or 48 inches, is it?
4 foot.
Yeah.
Right.
To make sure that that is a way to easily egress in the midst of all of the tables we're hoping will be there. So I'm going to again say no in my vote, because I don't think we're moving forward. I think we're just moving. If you want to ask me what that means, you can.
Now there's discussion. Roll call.
Carlson? Aye. Luce? Oops.
I think Laura's second.
Lohr? Second.
Aye.
Johnson?
Aye.
Luce?
No.
Bell Richard?
Aye.
Chisholm?
No.
Two votes against. City manager, when there's a absent member, we're still okay on this vote, right? I mean, city attorney.
Yeah. Yeah.
Pardon?
It's 4 to 2, it's a majority, right?
Yep, okay. Okay, let's move on to our reports from city manager, and we'll move on to department heads.
Thank you, Mayor. I would like to actually go back and just provide an update on the fire truck. I see the fire department here looking at me like, okay, when can we get the truck? And so just, there will be one final action. Bond Council has recommended for October 3rd. That'll be your final closeout vote on the closing documents, which means then we're looking at a closing date on the funds of mid-October. So that means you'll have the funds in hand by that time. What still needs to be coordinated is delivery of the vehicle from the city of Indianola. I've not had any more recent conversations since before last week, but we're still tracking towards that mid-October timeframe, I hope. So we'll see where that goes. But the action that you're going through now is for securing the funds. So.
How soon after the close? The next day, or?
Well, as soon as we have the funds in hand, which would be on the day of closing, you'd be ready to write a check to the city of Indianola. But then it will be up to them to coordinate delivery and whatever other final terms we need from them. So, So just another, or just an update on the IT director position. We do have a second interview later this week, so hopefully here in the next week to 10 days, we'll get that issue kind of looped up and closed. And then just a reminder that the Rebound Hospitality folks have a hotel groundbreaking ceremony on Wednesday afternoon. Hope to see you out there. So 4:30. That's all I have.
I have a question, it's just curiosity. Somebody asked me how many, seeing Andy isn't here, how many picnic tables and stuff did the campground lose in the flood?
They lost 27 picnic tables at a cost of around $6,000 and some odd dollars, and they found 4 or 5 of them.
New ones that came up downriver?
Yeah, no, from somewhere north, yeah. Now, they did find one down, all the way down behind Walmart.
And I think there's, somebody said there's some hanging in some trees
And I
someplace.
think there's still some that are not a table
Inaccessible.
hanging in a tree.
Right now. Department head reports, and there were actually seven people that went to the Iowa League of Cities, and so I'm expecting maybe at least a couple of things that they learned at the Iowa League if they've been there. But somebody can start there.
The last time we had a council meeting, I reported that we were just pumping around 7 million gallons during the flood. We're at 5.4. The pumps, I still got 5 pumps going. They're at 80% though. We're probably dropping off roughly 300,000 gallons per day when it does not rain. So if we could just have a nice, long, dry fall, I think we'll be in good shape, but we're getting there. We're still pumping, like I said, a lot of water. I haven't got an electricity bill from last month, but I'm assuming just with those pumps running at 100% for the 3 weeks that it's been going, I mean, we're probably looking at $4,000 to $6,000 just for electricity. But it'll be nice to get a break so we can go through them and make sure everything's up to par. So.
Okay, the league meeting. I guess probably one of the sessions that I was at that I came away with actually almost a sense of overwhelming dread was the cybersecurity session that I attended. And it's with everything that's facing IT and keeping our systems secure is very overwhelming. And it lends the importance to that IT position that Chad just gave you a quick update on.
And kind of a follow-up of what Mike was talking about. The water department this morning shut down our last bypass pump, if you would call it that. We were just pumping from a smaller sewer line to a major trunk line down from 5th Street over to South Avenue just to relieve some of the pressure on that smaller 8-inch main, and we were able to finally this morning shut that down. So we're starting to catch up there, so no more rain for a while like Mike had said. And then also this morning we were supposed to have closed down Hively Street. Runings were supposed to start with cutting of our new sewer main trunk line over there. Put in some calls today and have not received any information as to why they did not show up. So hopefully they'll be there tomorrow and they can get that project up and running and completed in a couple days.
Just a couple project updates. As Steph mentioned, the RISE project, and that has been slow going, but the paving, the basic paving is in, and they are beginning to work on the backfilling and finally putting the project back together again with the remaining work. That and the street lighting will be what's left, and so that's stretched a little because of the rains and the start-stopness of that when it comes to paving and paving efficiency, but otherwise at least we're getting to the end of the project. We have discussed the schedule with the DOT, and I don't think there's any problems on their end as far as the delay, so that one is hopefully going to be wrapped up this fall fairly soon. The other one that we have a pre-construction meeting for this week is the Division Street Storm Sewer Project, where we're trying to replace that pipe that's been opened up on the south side of the highway there in the Centrum Plaza area. We're looking for that to begin in a couple of weeks and preparing for that to try to get that, at least the worst first, part done this fall.
And I do have one more thing. For those that you haven't noticed or haven't seen, Wednesday night, I believe, into Thursday morning, we had a water main break on the east side of City Hall over here. The piece of main that broke is still laying there if you'd like to take a look at it. That is the fourth break that we've had in this area in 10 years or so, yes. Whether it's bad pipe, bad casting. Majority of the leaks that we fix, they snap around the pipe. This one actually physically blew about a 3-foot section of the pipe out. And to this day, we have no idea where that piece went. We went through about 750,000 gallons during that leak. So feel free to take a look at our piece of main.
Plus it flooded an area here. And
Yeah, there was a little bit of water in the basement of City Hall.
Mr. Pankow, do you have anything from library? No, you're quiet. Okay. Thank you. Council members?
Well, one of the sessions I attended this past week at the League of Iowa Cities was on the property tax reform for the rollbacks for multifamily residentials, which will not be backfilled, and by the projection numbers that the League is giving us, cities across the state of Iowa by the year 2024 will be down $196 million in property taxes. So something to be aware of when we're working on our budget, because I believe it's going to hit us this year with first rollback on the multifamilies. So we just need to be cognizant of it and work intelligently with our budget numbers that we get.
Nothing further?
Nothing at this time, Mayor.
Well, I was a first-time attendee at the Iowa League of Cities, and was very enthused about the professionalism I found all across the cities of the different people that I met. But I was really intrigued by the city manager of Ames' presentation. And he said it's the manager's or the leadership's responsibility to set vision, and then it's the community of workers and staff responsibility to figure out how that's going to happen. His vision was exceptional customer service. And they spent a year, all of the departments coming together and talking about how can we do things, what are the values that we have that will show exceptional customer service. And then they took those values and put them into the job descriptions. So, for instance, they gave the example of a firefighter came and said, contracted, union, official. So I started this whole new program, and I was curious as to why I didn't get the promotion. And the city manager talked about the different values that were in the job description. One of them was being positive. And so the reason that you were not promoted is because you did not meet the values of the job description. It wasn't being positive. But the strength of the system, and this was called changing your community's culture. The strength of the system, he said, was that when we had a snow emergency in Ames, after 10 hours, the street department drivers went home. We were still in the midst of a snow emergency. No one could get anywhere. How is that exceptional customer service? So they came up with a plan that when those CDLs left, there were several other CDLs in the workforce of their town that could come in and continue driving. So whether it was firefighters or wastewater treatment or whoever, different people had CDLs. So they focused on a conceptualization of not how does my department or how does my aspect of, but how does Ames across departments, across to be able to get there. And it was very, very intriguing concept to make the best possible presentation of a city to the citizens and visitors. So that was extremely good, Mayor.
Yes, I heard that one too. It was very good. Anything over here?
Yeah, just a comment, Mayor. Last month and a half, Decorah went under a lot of stress with the flood and heavy rains. And I think a lot of people commented how appreciative they are with city employees. We have the fire department, water, waste treatment, police, street, park and rec. But one of the interesting things is there were some nights that at 2, 3 in the morning, I couldn't sleep. So just got up and toured the city, and the street department, or the water department and sewer department. I think I ran into a couple of guys you never see around the table here, checking pumps, checking sewer lines, and even managers watching the sewer treatment plant at 2 or 3 in the morning. So just want to say appreciation to all those people, even the people we don't see here that were out working, and sometimes those individuals didn't get recognition. So just want to say thank you, guys and ladies.
Kurt?
Thanks, sir.
There's a few things from Luther. So I think everyone here has heard about the untimely death of Bjorn Norderhag. We at Luther, we took basically a day to remember him. Yesterday we had memorial services on memorial services. A lot of things are starting to get going back again, but there's a lot of counseling going on around the college. To less dark matters, Christmas at Luther tickets are on sale right now for parents, and later in about, I think, a week and a half for everyone else. So just a heads up.
Thank you. And Kurt, did you have a couple of comments about League?
Oh, I enjoyed the league meetings, sat in a couple of sessions on TIF, and a very good session on park development put on by the city of Asbury near Dubuque, and just a very valuable couple of days.
I just want to comment about one thing. The very first day, about 3 of us went on a bike tour, a bike on the kind you have to push the pedals to learn about Des Moines, and they have similar problems we do. Much bigger, they have a levee, some of the same problems. But the leadership part of the session was by Milt Kramer, who happens to be Kurt's father-in-law. And Milt has 42 years as mayor, just an unbelievable person. And he also said that his boards and commissions were pretty well equalized men and women, which is something that we need to continue to work on. He has a special ability of knowing about 3 generations of people in their community, so he does have a little advantage there. The other one that I really got struck by one of our speakers, and that was Jim Olson, who used to be a CIA spy. And as a person leading a double life for a number of years, he actually married a CIA spy. He says it's very difficult if your spouse isn't also in the CIA. They told their children when they were about 16 years old that they were a spy, and at that time they could pretty well accept it, but he says it's still rather difficult to lie all the time and then come clean. He said as he retired, he lost actually quite a few friends because they just wouldn't accept him anymore because he lived a lie with them all life. But the other thing scary is he says we're going to get hit again by something, and so I didn't appreciate that, but I guess he's probably telling the truth. So those 2 things were the things that I was kind of impressed with, and I've gone to a number of league meetings, and so I always learned something. Chad, I don't know if you had a couple comments before we close the meeting, or?
So there was a good session on drones. which are kind of an up-and-coming trend. So lots of conversation about do's and don'ts with drones. That was a very good session. So actually a lot of input from the city of Decorah. They knew very well that our fire department has procured one, and we're using them in parks and that. So good session.
And of course, they have vendors a couple times there, and every vendor you want, how's Decorah doing? Everybody knows about the flood in Decorah, so and they all want to know how we're doing, so we appreciate their concern. Okay, do we have a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Meeting will be adjourned.